Hello everyone. Hey guys. How we all doing? Welcome to the show. How is everybody? Let's not hold on a low note. It's Monday. I'm trying to cheer myself up. I was listening. What the hell was I listening to? Paint It Black. I was listening to Paint It Black right before I started the show, trying to get myself into that upbeat mode, trying to find something hopeful to talk about today. So let's be hopeful and be happy I have people in the chat. Let's start at the top. I got Adam K, Dark Sasuke, who's she's in a court right now. Careful, she might have to leave. Privileged White Male also popping in and out today. Glad to have you either way. Darrow Eldell and Bubonic for you, and Hunley and Nella all popping in and saying hello. How are you all today? It's Monday. Oh, unfortunately, we are probably going to have to carry on with the morning as usual. Welcome, Madwoman. You haven't said anything, but I see you there. We have a world from Ferg. Welcome. Good morning. Here's what we're going to do. I don't have any guests today. And click on the side here like I normally do. Let me figure out where my server is. I apparently have a message there. And I am going to go hang out in the Great Debate room as soon as I figure out where it is. Way down on the list there. If somebody wants to join me, there's a green room in my Discord. If you need my Discord, just type Discord and the bot will provide it. With that, let me do some clicks on the other side and give you a board to look at.
Welcome to the Great Debate.
Ben Shapiro. I bet you if you cut his eyebrows down, gave him a decent enough wig and enough makeup, maybe you could make him feminine. But I guess you could do that to a lot of guys if they're, you know, thin enough, not heavy. I don't know. Let's not talk about Ben Shapiro. He's got some ideas, that's for sure. Hey, Saki, welcome. Who wants to pick from today's board? Looking around. What did he finally find? He found a bag of unused condoms. He looked at me and asked me, what are these? And I said, you know, it's kind of like rock stars. And they give them out to you. We got... I saw something pop up. Where is it? School from Dark Sasuke. Here we go. Colleges have been doing online lessons. What prevents schools from utilizing this resource? Here's a weird one. Now, obviously, most of us know that certain training requires you to be shown or explain things. But if you can teach older kids, young adults, college-age adults, how to... Do I have a typo? Somebody else had a typo. Okay. If you can teach college-age adults how to learn material and do reports and stuff, there's a certain amount that can be done online. most of what's done in high school campuses is very close to that same type of material, and could, let me move this closer, could then be done online for a lot of high school students. So that would allow students at an earlier age to be able to go, okay, well, I opt into this online course because I've got this part-time job. Now at 16, when I was eligible, I got what I needed to go find a job. Some students, that job is important and it won't always work with your school schedule real well. When they find out you're a student, it's, oh, well, we'll bring you in on Friday night and Saturday night just so that we don't get in trouble for overworking you. And that cuts down on the abilities of the student. At the same time, we've had the discussion about tax dollars going to schools. And if you're putting a lot of money towards schools, then why can't that money be diverted into doing online courses and testing? I mean, all the material is pretty much laid out. You can conform more to national standards and have states start to teach some of the same material if you were able to teach it online. I know some people in here, I'm going to look back at the chat in just a second, as long as it doesn't go flying too fast. Some people in here have heard of the high school VOTEC campuses or digital tech campuses, online conference teaching halls, or whatever they're called. There's names for all sorts of names for these depending on where you are. And it's basically a teacher in a class halfway around the world is teaching you about something very specific in a classroom on a TV, and yet at the same time, because of technology, they have access to what all the students are not only seeing on their TV, but seeing, interacting on their computer. They can see the results of what's going on and help students through. They put assistants in the classroom sometimes to help with it and, you know, maintain order depending on the classroom. Now these are really, really cool setups, and I've actually sat in on one. I wasn't in the class, but I got to sit and see how it all worked. It was amazing 12 years ago. What can we do now? Why can't we take that same type of resource and put a student in front of a program in front of their computer at home? Let me look at the chat. Internet is not a necessity. It shouldn't be required. Ooh, there's an interesting thought. That was my bad. I thought it wasn't meant to be resource. Unless you're in college. Alright, well, here's another funny thing. I don't know if you realize this, but in higher dollar areas, what they've begun to do is transfer over to school-purchased computers that the student then has to rent, lease, or purchase from the school. That computer is set up and programmed to specifically work with only the programs that are put on the computer. Could some students bypass that? Probably. But the computers have exactly what the students need on them for all their textbook, their quizzes and things, and it gets unlocked as they go through. Even my students' classroom, there's no more chalkboard. It's a dry erase board that also projects a digital image of what's on the computer screen, so they can pop up any material they want, no book required. They can call the student up to the front, do the work over top of it, wipe it all off, and do it again. Let's see. Fuck you, Skullbot. Interesting. Skullbot likes those proposals. Be careful. Looking for something. By Sasuke. Yeah, fun, I don't think is quite the word. My daughter's school required her to have an iPad and software and a lot of work, including online lessons and such. The school my children are in is quickly updating, which is hurting my wallet tax-wise, but we can log in on our home computer and get his grades within a week of the item being completed. So they go through, they allow the kids, you know, whatever time to work on it or bring the scores up, and then it gets put into the computer. Once it's put into the computer, it automatically goes off to report cards, it goes to an online server, we can check the grade. He can do some extra activities that he can also do in the school computers he can do on the home computers, but there's no lesson in there. So, well, some of the schools I do know have lessons that you can watch on like YouTube videos. You know, here's the website. It's a bunch of links with YouTube videos for that school or teacher. Those are really cool. I think they're interesting, and it works for extra help for the students. But could we curb that and maybe give students resources to take some of their work home? Granted, like most people, I don't have the ability to buy my son and hand him a computer that's capable of doing this, nor do I think I have the ability to pay for a rental at least through the school. But it is a cool idea. Maybe make the school day shorter, which saves on income and utilities. Maybe break the day up into two different halves and have students work on computers. I don't know. Hold on, let me... Sorry. Alright, I know time is up. Here we are, we're back at the board. I think schools are an interesting topic, and I think the way that we teach our offspring is very important. The internet has turned me into a shitlord, so not sure if it's been all beneficial. I'm not necessarily... Okay, Saki, we're going to pick the government because Saki said so. I'm not sure so much about letting students loose on the internet for high school curriculum. However, being a parent that closely monitors his kids, allowing them to take extra courses or take some of their courses on the internet to help them through being monitored or being specifically set from another website where that's what they have access to. I have let my son use utilities. My daughter is almost at the age. I've let him use utilities on the internet that allow him to work on things, but he's always monitored when he does it. He can't really get off track. The website provides plenty for him to do. He's pretty good with it. I know he's going to be the more exposure he has. So I would kind of like more resources for him to be able to learn more at home, because then I can understand what it is he's learning and help him with it better, along with the fact that I can know more of what he's learning and not be so weird about what the schools are trying to do and moving him around in special classes and special testing and all that other shit. It gets convoluted and I don't like it. Onward! Yeah, a shock collar. For me or for the kid? Government it is. Here we are. It's the government's Is it the government's responsibility to oversee businesses that take advantage of the people? This one, I'm going to let a few of you guys answer in the crowd before I go spieling off with whatever I have to say, because boy, do I have a lot to say. Let's see. Jack-o'-lantern Gamer says, hey, that's an easy question, says the wild frog. The world from... It's Monday, I can't talk, thank you very much. That's an easy question. No, from the world from Ferg. Welcome. Again, I think. Either way, just welcome. It's nice to have you here. If you want to be on the show, just let me know. Plenty of ways to get hold of me. Ask the Nightbots for the websites, and they will hand them out freely. Nobody wants to throw any input in on this. Is it... Anybody else want to throw input, I should say. Is it the government's responsibility to oversee corporations to make sure that they don't take advantage of the people? I would like to be on the show, but I can't figure out Discord. Well, if you have Twitter at me, just type in tweet into the chat. It'll give you my Twitter. And I will press reload real quick just so that I know I'm paying attention. People are inherently dumb, so they need help when being taken advantage of. However, government isn't the best choice. Alright, so here's a little bit what I have to say while we wait for a potential guest. If if it's left up to the company's going to take advantage of whatever resource they can to make the money. It's up to the people that build into the company that they make the right decisions. So, should we use something separate, something different, or should I use Facebook? Because we don't pay Facebook anything, so that's a weird correlation to have. All right, Ferg, just send me a DM. I'm watching. I'm watching carefully. All right, can I send you a DM? We'll find out as I'm doing this. Now, we expect the government to help us figure out the best ways to do things. We expect them to protect us, to oversee things and prevent us from getting screwed over. It's our responsibility in a capitalist style market to make our choices with our money. To allow our choices to impact the way the market's going to move. So if we all disagree with what Facebook does, then we have to realize that being a member of Facebook gives them the power to do what they're doing. If after all these congressional meetings people join Facebook to find out what the controversy is, then Facebook benefited because of more exposure and more members. If Facebook loses thousands of members because of this controversy, they will realize that, okay, all of this came out, these were bad, let's discuss why they're bad, and then they can go from there. It allows the market to fluctuate based on what the consumer is after. Alright, and I'm going to copy and paste some links over. There you are. To make sure my audios are good. Okay. Here is an inherent thought. The population is stupid for many reasons. It's not just because that we're inherently on lower intelligence. It's that even with a higher intelligence quotient, the population is expanded. And with the expansion of the population, where you base your intelligence off of, there's a lot of new people, a lot of young people, a lot of those who may not be on our level because they've been exposed to different things in their life and don't have the education. So the intelligence overall is going down. People aren't learning as well. They aren't learning as much. They're not progressing. And when you take that into account, should someone be playing Mama or Papa over the population because they may not understand? Yeah and no. It should be it should be up to the population to make those decisions based on the market choices that they make, even if they are stupid choices. It's not up to the government until a corporation has overstepped its bound and started to encroach on what becomes the government's responsibility. Looking at the chat. Well, I would say that government legislation should play some part in preventing companies from being bad actors. I would love to see the heads of the YouTube and Twitter to justify their actions before Congress. What good does it do? And that's a serious question. Here's another thing I want to offer to this. It doesn't occur to anybody most of the time, but this was brought up during some of the meeting, and I have to say I have not seen all of it. There's like 13 hours of it altogether. I've seen maybe 6. It kept getting brought up how whether or not he felt it was a monopoly, whether he felt he had monopoly over what he was doing, whether or not there was another business that could or would or has been competing. Is Facebook a monopoly? Now, I guess the way you want to ask that is Facebook a monopoly based on it being a social networking site, in which case, no, because there's Twitter and YouTube and Gab and Patreon and Maker Support and MySpace and so many others. Links all in the description. The bot doesn't have all of them yet. And if you wanna say that Facebook has a monopoly, it has a monopoly on the ability to combine services that some websites can't combine. And that's not a monopoly, that's taking advantage of their situation. And I don't see a problem with that. If customers do have a problem with that, like, hey, my information being shared, I'm seriously contemplating and probably going to be deleting my Facebook account. I'm trying to offer fair consideration. Either way, I wouldn't open another one. That's to start with. And I'm probably going to close at least one, probably two, which will hurt them, sort of. How do you look at that? The world from Ferg is muted. He will probably be with us in just a moment.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. You're coming in a little crackly on the Hangouts, but you're completely clear on the stream, so I don't know if that's my end or what.
Nope, that's probably my end. Here's what I'm going to do, and my guests won't hear this. Just hang out where you are right now. I'm going to F5 because it's been open. I've had the Hangout open for a couple hours sitting there waiting for the show, so sometimes it happens that Hangouts does that. Let's clear the board while it reloads. And that brings us back here, and us having a guest means that if he can hear me better...
Yep, sounds better.
Yeah, sometimes it just does that. Allow me to supply you with the game board. How is that?
Looks good.
Alright. I'm sure you've been watching, have a good idea, so why don't you pick our next topic for us?
All right, let's see. Let's go for politics.
Politics. There should be laws against self-defense due to the increase of deaths in self-defense situations. You still there?
Yep, I'm thinking about the question.
It's very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's regular laws as what justifies self-defense. So is that included in your question?
A week or so ago, 3 teenagers, 17, 18, and 19, were shot by a 24-year-old in his home by an AR-15. The grandfather of the youngest one shot in the breaking and entering attempted burglary. The grandfather of the youngest one said the homeowner, even though 3 attackers, one with a knife, one I believe with brass knuckles, and another one with either a bat or a bar or something, that the 3 of them had unjust force used on them because the homeowner had a gun. And when the homeowner shot, he shot to kill because 3 people had just broken into the home and were armed.
I think that's completely justified. So in that case,
the
no.
The grandfather believes that there should be laws against extreme harm being caused, even during the commission of a crime. So, there should be laws against self-defense due to the increase of deaths in self-defense situations. Now, many states are starting to create, and this is what the gentleman who was defending the home fell under, stand your ground laws. If you are on your property or you are defending yourself, you can use what force you need for your own defense. And that can be weighed on different levels. It's definitely a gray area. If somebody's coming at you with a fist and you shoot them in the face, that's a little excessive. If you hit them with your gun, is that still being excessive?
I don't think so, because they're still attacking you on your property.
And
What
the
I mean,
problem is, how do you make that justification? Okay, it's okay to shoot somebody, but if you accidentally kill them, you went too far.
no. I want to kill them. That's my intention when they're on my property with their fists, because I don't know if they can kill me with their fists. I can't accurately gauge their strength.
Apologize for that. Just need another drink. Here, Saki the Real says, over here we do have those laws. Many are being sued by thieves who hurt themselves while being robbed. We have some places in the United States that are also like that. They don't have stand your ground laws. If someone breaks into your house and hurts themselves, they can sue you as a homeowner.
Right, yeah, I heard of that. Or if like a kid's like biking in your yard or messing around in your yard and hurts themselves,
Yeah.
they can also sue. I think we should separate those two.
I'm just saying in general, a person should be permitted to defend themselves in the means that they have. If I have, don't get me wrong, I don't understand how he had a quickly loaded, accessible AR-15 ready to defend himself, but more power to you. As soon as they came through the door, I'm assuming it was locked. As soon as they came through the door and showed a weapon, my weapon's bigger than yours, turn around and run. If you don't, this is what I have, that's what you have, somebody's gonna win. And that's what it comes down to. Which end of that do you want to be on? As a homeowner defending my house, I want the bigger gun. I want the I'm gonna win weapon, whatever that may be. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the first warning, it would be hard to legislate the warning because no one would know if you warned them or not.
The warning is the door was locked. There's the proof they broke in. That was their warning. They weren't supposed to be here. Once they came in, they were then breaking and entering. And if they have a weapon in their hand, it's an attempted assault if there's somebody in the home.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that. In your scenario, you said, I have a gun and it's bigger and better than your weapon. You can leave or you can try this. I was commenting to that.
Yeah. I can understand the grandfather going, okay, my son had, brass knuckles and he was shot with an AR-15. But would it change if he was shot with an 8mm or a 22? Would it change if he was shot with rock salt, pellets, BBs? Would that change?
Oh, not really. A 223 is pretty small bullet. It's the least scary of the rifles, so it might change if it was a shotgun and it blows them apart, but if they're dead either way, then no, it doesn't matter.
So I can't see the argument of the type of weapon, or I can't see the argument over whether or not or how much force to use. So this was literally, I put this in here because of him asking for laws and legislation to prevent people from using deadly force to defend themselves or their home. And I didn't see that as right, but I wrote it from his point of view. There should be laws against self-defense due to the increase in the death and self-defense situations. And that was part of his argument, is too many people are killed by people who own guns while they're trying to, quote-unquote, stand their ground. This is misconstrued and misused and da-da-da-da-da. It needs to be changed. And I was like, no, I don't think so, but I'll ask more people. Why not? We'll put it on there.
Yep.
It's interesting when you look at gun arguments, when you try to look at it from the other side and then break it down into different situations and realize that, it's really hard to justify certain situations with a gun. But when you do try to look at it from the other side, you kind of see a little bit of their angle.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations that sucks, They're kids, they don't have a fully developed brain. They make a rash decision. They're not able to weigh the consequences because of their underdeveloped brain, and they get killed, and it's a tragedy and it's horrible. But in a civilized society, things like that you can't really do anything about it because one, it's the individual's choice, and two, if you legislate against that individual's choice, then who's to say the next person that comes in won't be a 30-year-old that's well armed and trying to kill him?
Right. And it's funny how some of the argument against guns is, well, we need laws that protect this. Okay, well, here they are. You know, da 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 point da 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 A, da 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 point da 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 A, B, C. You know, we have hundreds of laws on guns across the nation. The laws are there. The law against breaking into a home, that's there, whether the door is locked or not. When you enter in somebody's home without permission, you are breaking and entering. If you enter with a weapon, doesn't that, I forget what it is, automatically, if somebody's in the home, or, there's all sorts of weird legislations between breaking and entering, burglary, attempted assault. Just by entering into somebody's home with a weapon, I think it's attempted assault if they're home. It becomes, it's weird. I forget, I didn't look into the burglary type, but it gets really fuzzy. But there's laws. They're there. There should be laws, other laws protecting the homeowner. If the homeowner defends himself, if somebody comes through my door and I smash a 65-inch TV over their head, is that excessive?
To a emotional person that can't think, then maybe.
The first thing I think is, who are you? What are you doing in my house? Smash. The first thing that comes into my hand, you know? My TV just happens to be really close to my door.
Yeah, I would just hope it's not the TV. Those things aren't cheap.
I have insurance, so when somebody breaks in the door and comes in the house, I'm insured. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what are we going to talk about next? Now that we're diverting a little bit. Also, what do we got going on in the chat? Happy to see off someone with my boken. Is it a bow? Or a bat? Or a sport or something? I don't legally own a firearm. I have an awesome 16-inch watermelon knife I keep nice and sharp.
Creepy.
All right, what do you want to do next? What do we got? We got 3 down. That leaves us 15 topics on today's board we can go over. They're all up to you to choose.
Let's see this transportation one.
When the world is seemingly beginning to crumble around us, where is a good place to travel?
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of went with a leap on transportation. I was looking for something. So here's the thought, and I've had this conversation with people from Britain and Scotland and around the world. And everybody says, no, you don't want to visit there. It's kind of dirty right now. No, that's not as nice as it used to be. You might want to wait till they clean it up again. Or, no, this area is a little too crowded. It's not as nice as it was. Or things are expensive here because there's so many people around. You keep hearing more and more bad things about what used to be the nicest places around the world. And and you think to yourself, do you still want to travel? Is there anywhere that's still nice to go?
I don't think anywhere in the Western world I would particularly want to go. If the world's falling apart, the place I want to be is right where I'm at. So, yes, standard of living's cheap, guns are legal, my rights are intact and insured by the Constitution. This is where I want to be.
Would you want to visit anywhere?
If while the world's falling apart, or in general?
I would say right now the world is kind of falling apart. All these places that in my young 20s, I was like, I'd love to visit these, even if I have to wait till I get old to do it. It's the museum in Paris. The what is it? The Louvre, the pyramid shaped museum in Paris, or the Tower, or just wandering Britain or anywhere else. And every time I mention one of these to somebody, just in that type of conversation, they're like, "Oh no, no, no! You don't want to visit that anymore. You're not allowed to go up to Stonehenge anymore. They're only allowed to sit at the bottom of the hill. They won't let you up there. You're not allowed to go into the statue anymore. You're only allowed to go to the base." I've been there. That was how it was when I was there 15 years ago. More and more of the world is becoming closed off and limited. I still would like to travel and see it, but is there anything worth traveling to see when every time I mention one of them, somebody goes, "Nope, that's falling apart. No, that's crumbled. No, you can't go see that because it's closed off."
Yeah, I don't know. And then you throw the
That would be
VR.
falling apart to me.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant in general, like the societies are falling apart, and that's why I said I don't want to go anywhere in the Western world.
Oh no, there's no place like home, but I've traveled across the United States. I've been back and forth a few times. There's still a few places I could go see, but I would like to see some of Europe and, go visit Japan and some other places. But you hear about how bad some of these places have become in the last 15 or 20 years and go, well, they used to sound wonderful. Now everybody makes them sound like they're no better than the crappy buildings down the road that are falling through right now.
Yeah, I can see their perspective on that. I would like to go to the Asian countries. I lived in Japan for 2 years. Japan's really cool, and it has all sorts of cultural things to go see, like Shuri Castle and things like that. I like the kind of undeveloped or medium developed countries like the Philippines. The Philippines was awesome because everything was very, very cheap compared to our standard of living. Like I got a haircut with a back massage and a shampoo for $1 US.
Wow.
So the Philippines was awesome to visit and not too bad. I was on the southern island. Japan's awesome. It's just a little expensive. South Korea is awesome if you're into the club scene. But I'd like to.
Is
Oh,
Japan
sorry.
like they make it in the movies, really crowded and kind of hard to get through sometimes?
Oh, definitely. In the cities like Tokyo.
I looked
Uh,
at maps. Aren't they the ones where their addresses are listed by the block, and then the number of the building is in what order the building went up on that block? That Japan.
that sounds right. I didn't live in town. I lived on base, so I didn't really take note of any of that. But
I find interesting things cool.
yeah. You'll find a lot cool there then because their culture. There's just so many different things they do, even down to how they eat their food, is definitely interesting. But yeah, that's where I'd want to visit, those Asian countries. I'd like to go see other places. Maybe not Indonesia because I heard that's a Muslim shithole now. But maybe I don't know. Maybe Thailand. I heard Thailand was crazy. I don't know if I'm up for it, but I would like to check.
Saki says, or London Bridge, just so I could see it falling down, falling down, falling down. Don't you have to go to Vegas to see that? I've been through, or I've been on the main road through Vegas and decided, nope, not going to stop. Nope, nope, nope. But I have been to what I think is referred to as the Tri-Cities, Reno, Sparks, Carson City in northern Nevada. Nice little area. At a car show in August. Alright, transportation is up, speaking of car shows. And we're back at the board. 4 down and 14 to go. But we're not going to get to all of them, just to make that. What are we doing next?
You want to pick one?
Nope. I write the board. I pick from the audience or the guest. And today, you came in here to be the guest. Now you must pick from the board.
Fair enough. Let's go technology.
Technology. Let's see if it's still screwed up from last week. Will being able to monitor one's personal health become a problem or a solution to societal health?
Well, it definitely can't hurt.
Maybe a repeat question, but we'll run with it anyway. There was the Facebook thing a few weeks ago where they released, Zuckerberg actually came out and said that they weren't going to do the thing with linking personal medical records with your Facebook account. If you have a smartphone, most people do, on your smartphone, somewhere in there, there's usually at least a pedometer or some sort of health or fitness site. Apple builds it right into theirs now so that you can link it to the watch, and it'll measure your heartbeat and your cardio system and tell you what kind of calories you're burning. Put in a few data metrics about how tall you are, the length of your legs, the size of your foot, your waist, and your shoulder height, right? Yeah, all that information that it wants, and it'll calculate how far you're moving based on your movements and how many calories you're burning, what you're doing, and all that. But that means that Apple now has statistics on all of that information. And anywhere that you're linked on your phone, you can share that information with, which means they could have access to all that information. And now your personal health information is no longer personal. It's now information.
Well, it still might be personal as far as it's not associated with your name. Like they would probably just do what they do to information, get bulk data, not necessarily associate it with you, and then use it for studies.
And you don't see that as a problem?
No, they do it now. Every time you walk into a doctor's office, they do a SOAP note or whatever electronic medical system they're using, and that goes into a database. And at the end of the year or whatever, they report it to the government, and the government makes their statistics off of that. That's how they know how many people have heart disease, or how many people get this disease, and how many people are obese. That's where they get that data.
Now, I see benefits to both sides of this equation. Don't get me wrong. There are absolute benefits to being able to digitally monitor your health. Let's say I was going about my everyday activities, and there are heart problems in my family, so it's something I do worry about. Let's say I have one of those iWatches on and my phone's monitoring my heartbeat, and I'm just gardening or something out back, and all of a sudden it measures a bad rhythm, and then lets me know. Should it then also be sending messages out? If it sends an emergency message out saying that I just had, what is it called, a heart arrhythmiation or something like that, for a small jump in the heartbeat, should that be sent out to services or to my doctor to let them know that I need medical attention because something just happened?
Sent to your doctor? I think if it's pre-approved between you and your doctor, then yeah.
And this is where things start to get cloudy. Is yes, it's a great service, but the more the service is there, the features on it will expand. Then those features become open.
Yeah, but the danger we run into if we just try to avoid it altogether, which I understand that's not completely what you're saying, but say you wanted to avoid these potential dangers of a unlimited amount of growth, I think we're stifling the innovation in the health community. Hopefully, I want healthcare to be so efficient to where we can basically do it ourselves through a machine at home if we need to.
You sort of can, but I'm going to tell people, if you have the app, the Doctor on Demand or whatever it is, don't fucking listen. My mom thought that was the coolest thing for almost 3 years. Didn't do shit to help her.
I don't see those working until they remove the government.
Right. And
so people can really innovate and their hands won't be tied and you can do more.
yeah, and you also have to whenever you develop something new, there's always going to be ways in. And this is the best way I can think of the analogy. We remember seeing movies where you'd get reporters sitting there listening to their police scanner for something to go across the scanner, and then the reporter or everybody shows up to the scene because it went across the scanner, right?
Yes.
You're gonna kind of see that in a digital way. The more information that's there that'll allow people to determine things, the more people that are gonna want that information. And then all of your information, yes, you're right, in a pile of other information becomes somebody else's information that they have access to.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that personal information, how much of your private health data are you willing to share? And then do you get to the point where, you know, your pacemaker is connected to that system?
There are definitely dangers with it, that's for sure.
I on the plus side, yes, you know, I would love to not have to worry as much about having, you know, a myocardial infarction. I love saying that sometimes. I would love to know services will be here. Listen, you just had a problem with your heart. We're taking you in to make sure that you're all right. Really? Yeah, just come on, a couple quick tests. Come on down. We'll bring you back when we're done. Wow, that'd be awesome. Granted, that'd be under like a dictator-held state, but be nice to be warned that something's going wrong and not just all of a sudden going, ow, everything hurts, and falling to the floor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or have something like that old life alert.
Life alert. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
All senior citizens must wear life alert.
Don't worry, Grandma, you don't need a life alert. Here, have a cell phone. Wear this around your neck.
Yeah, no kidding. What's WTO? What the fucker for the win? Let's see what it is.
Longer lifespan and lower birth mortality rate leads to higher population. How will this affect us as it continues? What the fucker for the win, or fuck the world, however you want to look at that, is more of a... It's been a category to throw in the weird oddball end of the world scenarios and conspiracies and weird things to look at. It's just kind of become a dump for that kind of stuff. I needed a category to be able to throw those in once in a while.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. How will this affect us as it continues? What time frame are we talking here?
Well, in 1970s, we had just over 3.5, or was it 4 billion? And then in the 1950s, there was only a little over 2.5. And in the 2000s, we were encroaching on 6. And then here we are, almost 2020, and we're going to be at about 8, or shy of 8, around 2020. Projections say that this will continue to increase with time, because the more people, more having kids, so on and so forth. The population is going to continue to increase. Granted, our technologies, our methods of farming and creating produce and factoring in different plans and problems going wrong, we can sustain life and feed everybody for so long. And then there comes a point where you overuse the resources. How else do you think, before I keep tossing in all of what I think and kind of know will sort of happen, what do you think? What will be the downfall of this happening?
Well, if there is a point in time where there is no more resources, I guess it will kind of fix itself because a lot of people will die. And, oh man, that's hard to tell, because what we're racing to is, I guess, universal expansion. I wouldn't know when it gets to that point. There,
You're right on the verge. This is a really, really hard topic, especially if you don't really think about it. Which is why this show is fun going in, because I'm getting your. I've never thought about that, but since you're gonna toss it out there, the okay, I got yeah.
Yeah, this is all
smart
fresh.
People had said that there is no way our planet can sustain the growth of the population for much longer. That within the next 20 or 30 years, we're going to be needing to be on another planet, finding ways for it to support life.
Well, we've been hearing that probably since
1980s,
1800s, 1900s. No, I'm pretty sure there's been people that always thought population growth was a problem. It's kind of like one of those theories, like
Hold on, Daryl, I'm getting there.
When technology will outgrow itself and it will replace all the jobs. It's kind of like one of those things. So yeah, we would have to expand. I think that would be way far enough into the future where our technology would hopefully surpass the overpopulation deficit. Am I saying this right? So we'll reach a point where our technology is so good that it will compensate for the lack of resources, and I'm willing to bet that that point will come before the population distribution of resources comes, because, well, capitalism works so well.
You're right, and you're close. And my mind always goes to those stupid facts. Did you know that if a virus that affected our current banana strain were released, that we could, as a planet, lose bananas?
No. I didn't know that.
It happened 30 or 40 years ago. An entire strain of... No, it was in the 60s, so almost 50, 60 years ago. An entire strain of bananas was wiped out by a virus because of the way bananas are grown. They're cloned off of each other. So if the plant dies, the tree is dead. So if a virus hits the plant and it spreads through the population of that plant is dead. And this is true of a lot of species of food. Same thing happens with cattle. If something hits cattle and it starts to spread, you lose that whole stock of cattle.
And
so you take into account that there are things that could happen that would greatly impact our food supply. And Daryl O'Dell, are you saying we should kill people or else we'll die? If something hits the food and people realize it, you'll get fights over food. The more people we have on the planet, the higher the friction, the higher the possibility of there being a fight.
And there's also a chance we get wiped out by one of those viruses.
Yes, that's entirely possible. The viruses are currently growing in people. They're being detected around the world one at a time every few months, and they seem to be getting closer together, that are resistant to antibiotics or resistant to this or resistant to that. We can't...
Yeah.
What do you do?
Our mortality and morbidity is actually higher than it was in the 80s and 90s because of these antibiotic resistant ones. So we're kind of in a race with this new type of antibiotics. And if we don't get that in time, that could be bad. Oh, yeah.
Well, I know you jumped in a little late, but here we are just a few minutes from the end. How do you like that?
The stream?
Yeah, how do you like the game?
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I've been doing YouTube a long time. This is the first time they did it in like a game show. I think you're unique in that aspect.
I appreciate it. That's what I aim for. Something different. That way I'm not trying to copy other people. Granted, I do watch a lot of other people, so if you see something close, I probably saw something or, just came up with another good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like having guests on here, different perspective. I could talk for an hour, but boy, do I get bored and my mouth gets dry.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. If you ever want on another show, let me know. Also, chat. Where are you in chat? Let you put your links down as soon as I figure out where you went. And you are the world from Ferg. I'm assuming I have heard you before.
Yeah, I kind of came up with Irate Bear, Tailed Feature, Scribelight. I don't know if you know any of them.
I know every one of them.
Yeah, except I just kind of fell off because I went to school. But we all started at the same time.
Saw you in chat. I can't figure out where you chatted back here. It was a bit ago. Boy, this chat's moving today. I know my bot takes up a lot of it. With that, why don't you? Are you still watching the live stream? Can you throw something in chat so I can get your link? Let you throw your links in there for everybody to see.
Oh yeah.
I can't seem to find my way through my own chat right now.
Sorry about that.
The bots are filling up my chat. I love it. They keep the interaction going. I'm gonna have to have another fun bot programming stream because some of them are getting boring. That just happens.
I like the fact that you have bots. It reminds me of one of the original Warcrafts back in the day, Frozen Throne. Have you ever played that?
No. I've been in and out of being a computer gamer. Real life kind of tangles you up. Didn't have a computer for a while.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat have anything for us? The single woman will be upset by the banana apocalypse. Don't worry, banana apocalypse will not kill cucumbers. Women will be okay.
It won't let me send links in the chat.
Just chat in the chat real quick, and then I'll make it so you can.
Okay.
That's the new perk. Once I passed my 200 mark, I stopped handing out wrenches. Now to get a wrench, you got to come on the show.
Did you get that new chat?
Yep. I don't know why YouTube won't let you hit it from the participants list, but there you are. Shill your link for your channel, and I will add it into the post.
I appreciate it.
I have a list of questions on my spare question sheet. I'm trying to rotate some around. I apologize if that was a repeat, because that's happened once or twice before. But at least I didn't have to screw up where the question came up in the wrong category. That was funny and unfortunate all at the same time. With that, let me figure out what settings I'm in. I have this one that says and you all should hear just a little bit of fire burning. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the show. Make sure you are subscribed if you are not already and would like to come back. And hit that bell to be notified. I do this one 5 times a week. And pay no attention to the drunk stream I did the other day. We do a stream on Saturday nights. I won't be drunk for the next one, I promise. Maybe. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I really appreciate it. Let's play out some music.